Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
The On-Course podcast is an IVM production, and if you enjoy this podcast, we suggest you try The Seen and the Unseen. Hosted by journalist Amit Verma, the show discusses and dissects a specific public policy every week. Check it out.
You're listening to the On-Course podcast.
Hi everyone, welcome to the On-Course podcast. On-Course is a creative and alternate education company that aims to bridge the gap between formal classroom education and real-world skills. We offer a range of programs from short skill-based courses to test prep to application assistance for those looking to study abroad. My name is Alisha Mashruwala and I'm the CEO and co-founder at On-Course.
Hi everyone, my name is Akhil Laswani. I'm the COO and co-founder at On-Course. And today on the show, we're going to be speaking a little bit about careers in finance.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who have questions about, what finance is or, what are the things you can do with finance. So Akhil, to start, can you just give us a very basic overview of what exactly is finance?
Right. So that's a little bit of a complicated answer because most people don't really know what finance is, but they just know they want to work in finance, right? So finance, essentially, it's made up of multiple services in a way of speaking. At the very core of it, if you go back to the history, finance was essentially providing finance to someone who wants to, use it to either scale ventures or to or for debt, etc. Today, though, financial institutions have kind of evolved, right? So there are multiple services that these institutions do provide. If you kind of break down the financial services into two segments, it's very easy to sort of look at it from a sell-side point of view and a buy-side point of view, right? So the sell-side point of view essentially is where financial institutions are trying to sell services to others. Now, on that side of it, then that's the more common side, which people assume is the whole of finance, but it's just one segment. Includes things like private wealth management, asset management, sales and trading, right? And on the buy side is sort of the more exclusive side of it, which is sort of the part where people really get into hardcore finance, which is more investment banking, private equity, or, along those lines.
So when you say the buy side of it being investment banking and private equity, what exactly does something like that entail?
Right. So investment banking is one of the most misunderstood terms, these days, because most people, when they say investment banking, they're assuming investment management and, they're thinking of equities and derivatives and portfolios. And that's really not what investment banking is, right? Investment banking is essentially sourcing deals, trying to figure out mergers and acquisitions, trying to figure out, initial public offerings. And the key component of that is A, sourcing the deal, and B, trying to figure out what is the right value at which this deal should happen. That is essentially the value addition that at that very base level that what investment bankers provide. Of course, they do this for debt, they do this for multiple other services, but that's the basic service.
And so you have a lot of students coming in and saying, eventually I want to get into a career of investment banking. And I'm sure a lot of them aren't really particularly sure also of what that entails. And like you said, it's very different from investment management. What is the difference between investment banking and, say, private equity?
So, like I said, investment banking, you're dealing with more public equities, right? So you're dealing with companies that want to be listed. You're dealing with listed companies that want to merge. You're dealing with, companies that want to acquire other companies. But it tends to be more on the public space, right? Private equity is essentially you investing in private companies, taking a stake in them and taking a part of their future growth, right? Now, if you think of what, Tiger Global Fund has done with Flipkart, that's private equity, right? Or what SoftBank has done with Snapdeal, that's private equity. Investment banking is more so when Mars has bought out Wrigley, that was done by investment bankers.
That's interesting because they're completely different sort of aspects of finance altogether.
So they're different aspects of finance, but they have one very common metric, and that's your ability to understand valuations, right? So irrespective of whether you're in the public space or the private space, your ability to understand how a company is to be valued is essential, or the core skill for this.
So for anyone who wants to potentially go into finance, is there any recommendations or ways that they can actually learn about, valuing companies or gaining that skill? Or does that just come through experience?
Of course, it comes through experience, but there are ways you can do it. I think in India in particular, when you're trying to get into finance, I think the best path that you could possibly take is doing a CA. And the only reason I say that is because in a lot of the other courses, you don't get the same exposure that CAs get through their, internships and, just being able to have access to financial statements, because financial statements is the core of all investment banking or all, private equity. So just having access to that is so key. But I think the most important thing, irrespective of whether you do the CA or not, is you must do the CFA, right? Which is essentially, there are 3 levels to the CFA. And that gives you a first analysis of final accounts, right? Being able to understand how a P&L looks, how a balance sheet looks, what kind of metrics to look for, how to read a trial balance. I think that sort of is literally the most tangible skill that you can have when you go into finance.
So you've spoken a lot about the buy side of it. Can you tell us a little bit more about the sell side?
So the sell side is a little easier for our listeners to sort of understand, right? So when, you have the guys in the suits coming to your office to sell their whole equity portfolios, that's the sell side. So any NBFC who's selling services to individuals or to institutions, they're doing that through their sell side, right? So if you think of private wealth, right? Someone is coming to you and saying, listen, you have money, you don't know what to do with it. I know what to do with your money better. I'm going to manage it for you. And of course, I'll come to you and let you know what I do with it, right? Then you have asset management, where you have assets and you're going to figure out how you're going to manage those assets, whether it's an institution or individuals. And I will come to you and help you manage those assets for you. And the third side of it is sales and trading, where I will trade on your behalf, right? You can use me as a broker service, or I can just be a private wealth service for you.
So for anyone who does want to get into finance, is there any particular way of knowing sort of which side of finance they would want to get into? And if so, what are some specific skill sets you feel like are necessary for someone who wants to get into the field?
So they're very different, right? So if you think about what kind of person thrives on the sell side, it's very different from the person who thrives on the buy side. Of course, there are overlaps in skills. A person on the sell side tends to be more on the marketing and sales bit. They need to be very personable. They need to be able to convey the point clearly. Of course, having the basic analytical skills is still key because that's the core function, but sales and trading is their main role, right? Whereas on the buy side, your main role is the analytical side of it. You need to be good with your numbers. But of course, as you grow older into organizations, it's important to have that sales and marketing bit also, because at the end of it, you also go on pitches, right? You're trying to convince a company to come to you, right? Why should I go to HDFC for this particular deal versus going to Kotak? Right? And you have to be able to convince them. So there's sales and marketing on that side as well. But the core skill, of course, is more analytical.
And for both of these, is there any kind of education specifics that it requires? Like, do you have to be studying finance in your undergraduate degree to actually get into finance?
No, so actually, technically you don't, right? So a lot of guys who do CAs, for example, they'll do that alongside a BCom, which is a Bachelor in Commerce. So you technically don't need to study finance per se. But like I said, if you've done like a CFA or something, it's very, very useful. CFA is an international certification, which a lot of banks look at, across the globe and say, okay, if you've done CFA level 1, I know what that means, right? And that's really, really relevant.
So in conversation, talking about finance, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
That was Tantrik Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India. But unfortunately, most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started atkt.in. Hi, I'm Ankur. I'm a musician and a rapper. And I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through atkt.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now, of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. atkt.in.
We're back and we're talking about finance. So we were just talking a little bit about the difference between skills that you may need for a buy side or sell, going into the buy side or sell side of finance. So Akhil, just to kind of add to that, how do you actually get a job in finance? What is the steps required to actually get into that level?
That's tricky. I think the most important thing, though, to get the job in finance is to make sure that you spend your summers interning in finance, right? And this is something which we learned early on, is that if you don't spend summer 1 in finance, you won't get summer 2. And if you don't spend summer 2 in finance, you won't get summer 3. And if you don't spend summer 3 in finance, you're not getting a job in finance. So it's really important, because the most relevant skill for them, like you said earlier, is experience. And someone who has experience, with things like discounted cash flows, with things like understanding how a balance sheet looks, is invaluable. And to be honest, you only pick that up, on the job. And the more internships you do, the more experience you gain.
And as an intern, what are the things that a finance company might have you do?
Well, initially, probably go get the pizza or the beer, depending on where you are. Besides the Friday beer runs, typically interns would work a lot on pitch books, depending on what part of finance you're in. So, of course, if you're in wealth management or on the sell side of it, pitch books for individual clients. And if you're on the buy side of it, like investment banking, you'd probably be working on pitch books for corporate clientele. Usually, if there's a live deal going on in the investment banking, you're very involved. Like as a summer analyst, you're pretty much right under the analyst, and you're expected to work with them through the deals as well. So sometimes the deal, of course, involves the basic valuation metrics, which, of course, as an intern, you will not be expected to be a part of. But it's great experience if you can see what's happening. But the part of it which you will be very involved with is more the basic presentations, the basic analysis that goes into, trying to figure out the structuring of the deal, which is a great experience.
Do you feel like it's very important to work in a really large firm, or is it okay to work in a smaller company?
So I find boutique firms to be actually more relevant. Of course, your deal sizes are smaller. Like if you're working $1 billion deal, the odds are the number of people on that deal are going to be enormous, and as an intern, you're going to do much less work. But if you're working a $10 million deal, odds are it's going to be just, one analyst, maybe one partner, and potentially a couple of interns, and you'd have that experience of literally working very close with the client, which you normally will never have in bigger deals. So smaller boutique firms give you the advantage of seeing things more up close and personal. The other thing that sort of happens in smaller firms is they don't kind of dissect by sector, right? So what you tend to find in a lot of bigger banks is, if you're working on a deal in pharma, you'll only work in pharma. Right, and that's all you get to see. But in smaller companies, you'll sort of get to see deals across sectors.
And do you feel like when finance companies are recruiting, is the interview process very rigorous for something like this? And if so, what are the steps or what are the things they look at when they're interviewing candidates?
So I think it obviously depends, again, for what role they're interviewing you. Like I know on the sell side, it's more personality fit-based questions, which they will ask you. On the buy side, it tends to be more quantitative also, but of course personality and fit is still essential to them. So the quantitative might include a math test, might include basic regression models, things which you have to learn. Like you need to learn what a leveraged buyout is, you need to learn how to run a discounted cash flow, just simple things, right? On the sell side, I think they're just trying to gauge whether this person is client ready. Right, and being client ready is really all that matters on the sell side. And of course, having the basic analytical skills and interest in the equity markets or the derivative markets.
And for those people who are interested in potentially going into finance in the future, are there any books that you recommend they read just to kind of get a broader understanding of what finance is?
Well, frankly, no books would really fully prepare you for the world of finance. But the ones which I found helpful when I was going through the whole search was Liar's Poker. I found that to be like a really, really good book. It was a lot about the bond markets of the 80s, like before the 87 crash. Really good book. And there's another one which is more on investment banking called Monkey Business. That's a really nice book as well. For those more into equity markets, I found Peter Lynch's One Up on Wall Street to be a really good read. So that's really useful. However, at the end of it, if you want to build your own skills, you're going to have to, go out there and sort of try to build your own, through CFAs or through... Another thing which is we didn't really get a chance to speak about is people should actually look to do MOOCs, which are like Coursera, where you have intro to finance classes or intro to corporate finance classes available online. And even if you do that, I think that gives you really great exposure.
And for those, people say that usually if you're working in investment banking, to move into private equity, it's important to get an MBA or to do a master's degree or something along those lines. How true is that? How relevant is that?
I think it's true if you're trying to move to the big funds, like the big PE funds, probably want guys with MBAs. Of course, in India, if you don't have an MBA, you're not valued even at the analyst level. Abroad, of course, it's different, right? Like if you have a really good undergraduate degree and you've been doing well, they don't really distinguish, the MBA versus the undergrad. MBAs would just start at a higher level. However, in India, like the MBA is almost like a bare requirement now in finance. So frankly, if you want to do finance in India, you should probably look to get an MBA.
And that's kind of going to take you into, regardless of whether you want to do investment banking or private equity.
Yeah. Like honestly, over here, without an MBA, you may struggle to even break into investment banking.
That's interesting. So it's very different, the kind of job opportunities you would have abroad versus in India.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in finance, the analyst level in countries like the US or UK or Canada, they're kept for undergrads. And they know there's a 2-year or 3-year lifespan on them, and they would typically go out and get an MBA, right? In fact, some of the banks, especially back in the heydays, would actually sponsor some people's MBAs, with obviously the clause being you got to come back to us. Whereas, your associates are where the MBAs come in. Of course, they're on a faster track towards, becoming partner or, towards VP. But they literally are two different levels. Whereas here, even to get analyst, you need to have the MBA. So typically, if you walk into an investment bank today in India, you'll typically find a lot of people from IITs and IIMs. And that kind of tells you everything you need to know.
And is the experience of working in finance very different abroad and in India?
So the deals are a little different. The deal sizes are different, right? So India, the deal sizes are still relatively smaller. We're still about, I think our biggest deals tend to be like 100 million, 150 million, whereas the biggest deals are, in places like the US tend to be 1.5 billion to 2 billion to 3 billion. So very different scales. Of course, they're growing. I think the investment banking industry is growing rapidly. A lot of good companies are coming into public markets. We're seeing that. I think the maturity of our bond markets will also play a key role in that. Our bond markets have very low liquidity if you compare it to developed markets. But I think that's something which is going to evolve over the next couple of years.
Great. Thanks so much for listening to the Conversation in Finance. For those of you who have more questions, who want to know more about a career in finance, you can reach us at info@oncourseglobal.com. Or you can visit our website, www.oncourseglobal.com. Follow us on Facebook or Twitter.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी.
बोलिए मैडम.
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, थिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर जकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है. आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम. आप जाओ iVMpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप. सब आपकी उंगलियों पे.